Rural girl mocked as a bumpkin in job interview. But they didn't know she was the CEO's secret lover. Picture this. A young woman walks into a sleek, glass-walled office building wearing her best outfit. A modest blouse and pencil skirt. She stitched herself from fabric, bought at the local market. Her hands are trembling slightly as she clutches her resume, but her chin is up, determination etched on her face. She's come a long way from her small rural town, where life revolves around farming, livestock, and community gatherings under starlit skies. But today isn't about where she comes from. It's about proving she belongs in the big city. Yet before she even steps foot into the interview room, whispers ripple through the air. "Look at her," someone mutters behind cupped hands. "She's so country." Another voice chimes in with a snicker. Did she think this was a barnyard audition? The words sting, cutting deeper than any insult she's ever faced back home. Little do they know, their mockery is about to set off a chain of events that will leave them all speechless. Her name is Clara Bennett, though no one here knows that yet, or cares to ask. To these polished professionals sipping lattes in the lobby, she's just another bumpkin trying to claw her way into their world. They size her up like vultures circling prey. The handmade clothes, the faint trace of soil still lingering beneath her nails, despite her best efforts to scrub them clean. The soft drawl that slips out when she speaks nervously. What they don't see is the fire burning inside her, fueled by years of hard work and dreams too big for her tiny hometown. Clara didn't grow up with privilege or connections. Her family scraped by on what their land could provide, teaching her grit and resilience instead of handing her opportunities on a silver platter. And now, standing here amidst judgmental glances and cruel laughter, she feels more alone than ever, but not defeated, not yet, as Clara waits for her turn. Seated stiffly in an uncomfortable chair, the tension in the room grows palpable. The other candidates glance over occasionally, some smirking, others pretending indifference. None of them suspect the truth, that Clara isn't just another hopeful looking for a break. Unbeknownst to everyone in this building, including the hiring manager, waiting behind closed doors, Clara has a secret that ties her to the very heart of this company. Months ago, during a charity gala held in the city, Clara met Alexander Hart, the enigmatic CEO of Hart Industries. Their encounter was unexpected, almost magical. He was charming, genuine, and unlike anyone she'd ever known. Over time, their connection deepened, blossoming into something neither of them anticipated. But theirs is a relationship shrouded in secrecy, not because of shame, but necessity. In a world obsessed with appearances, Alexander feared public's scrutiny would tarnish both his reputation and Clara's. So they kept their love hidden, sharing stolen moments whenever possible, while keeping their roles strictly separate. Now, sitting in this sterile office environment, Clara wonders if coming here was a mistake. Will revealing herself change everything? Or will staying silent cost her the chance to prove she deserves to be here on her own merit? The irony of the situation isn't lost on Clara. These people laughing at her couldn't be further from the truth. If they only knew who she really was and who she's connected to, they wouldn't dare mock her. But part of her hesitates. Should she let them find out? Would it make things better or worse? As much as she wants to defend herself, she also knows how important it is to stand on her own 2 feet. This job isn't just about surviving in the city. It's about proving to herself that she can succeed without relying on anyone else, not even Alexander. Still, the weight of their ridicule presses down on her shoulders, making her question whether she truly belongs here. Is this battle worth fighting? Can she rise above their prejudice and show them exactly what a bumpkin is capable of? When Clara finally gets called into the interview room, the atmosphere shifts. The panel of interviewers greets her with polite smiles, though their eyes betray curiosity mixed with skepticism. One of them, a sharply dressed woman with an icy demeanor, starts firing questions almost immediately, testing Clara's knowledge and experience. It's clear they're expecting her to stumble, to confirm their assumptions that she doesn't belong, but Clara surprises them and herself with her answers. Her responses are thoughtful, informed, and grounded in real-world problem-solving skills, honed from years of managing her family's farm. She talks about resourcefulness, teamwork, and adaptability, qualities often overlooked in corporate settings, but crucial to success anywhere. For a moment, the room falls silent, the interviewers exchanging glances, as if unsure how to handle this unassuming, yet impressive candidate. Clara senses a shift in their attitude, but she remains cautious, knowing full well that perception can be fleeting. Meanwhile, outside the interview room, rumors continue to swirl among the staff. Someone mentions seeing Clara earlier, and jokes about her farm girl vibe. Others chime in, speculating about why she even bothered applying. Probably desperate, one says dismissively. No way she'll get the job. What none of them realize is that Alexander Hart himself is scheduled to review the final candidates later today. He had planned to stay out of the process entirely, trusting his team to make the right decision. But after hearing whispers about a particularly unusual applicant, his interest is piqued. Could it be her? The thought sends a jolt of excitement and apprehension through him. If Clara makes it to the next round, he'll have to confront emotions he's tried so hard to compartmentalize. And if she doesn't, well, that's a scenario he refuses to entertain. Back in the interview room, Clara wraps up her final answer, her voice steady despite the storm raging inside her. The panel thanks her for her time, offering vague reassurances about the selection process. As she leaves the room, she catches fragments of their conversation through the partially closed door. Not bad for a country girl, one says grudgingly. Another adds, we might actually need to consider her. For the first time since walking into this building, Clara allows herself a small smile. Maybe, just maybe, she's starting to break through their biases. But as she steps back into the lobby, she locks eyes with a familiar figure approaching from across the hall. It's Alexander, looking every bit the powerful executive he is. His gaze meets hers, surprise flickering across his face, before he quickly masks it. Clara freezes, her heart pounding. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not now. Not like this. Before either of them can react, a voice calls out, breaking the spell. Mr. Hart, we weren't expecting you until later. The moment passes, leaving Clara breathless and uncertain. How will she navigate this tangled web of secrets, ambition, and love? And what happens when the truth finally comes to light? As Alexander strides into the office, his presence commands attention. The staff scurry around him like satellites orbiting a planet, eager to impress, but careful not to overstep. Clara watches from a distance, her mind racing. She knows this moment could change everything, for better or worse. Alexander's arrival wasn't part of her plan, and she can tell by the flicker of recognition in his eyes that he's just as unprepared for this encounter. He quickly recovers, nodding curtly at the HR manager, who greets him before disappearing into a private meeting room. But Clara can't shake the feeling that their brief exchange has shifted something, like the first crack in a dam, holding back a flood of secrets. The rest of the day passes in a blur. Clara tries to focus on preparing for the next round of interviews, but her thoughts keep drifting back to Alexander. How will he handle seeing her here? Will he reveal their connection, or will he pretend they're strangers? The uncertainty gnaws at her, making her second-guess every decision she's made so far. Meanwhile, the whispers about her continue among the employees. Some are impressed by how well she held her own during the interview, while others remain skeptical, convinced there's no way someone like her could truly fit into their corporate world. These conversations swirl around her like a storm, each word another gust, threatening to knock her off balance. Yet Clara refuses to let them see her doubt. Bernaysian on proving herself. She clings to the belief that hard work and determination will eventually silence even the harshest critics. Behind closed doors, Alexander wrestles with his own turmoil. When he heard rumors about an unusual candidate earlier, he never imagined it would be Clara. Now, faced with the reality of her presence, he feels torn between pride and panic. On one hand, he's amazed by her courage, how she dared to step into a world that so clearly looks down on her. On the other hand, he fears what might happen if their relationship comes to light. His position as CEO demands a level of professionalism that leaves little room for personal entanglements, especially ones as unconventional as theirs. If the board finds out, it could jeopardize not only his career, but also the future of Hart Industries. And yet, the thought of dismissing Clara's achievements because of their secret makes him feel like a hypocrite. Isn't fairness supposed to be one of his core values? As the hours tick by, tension builds within the office. The hiring team gathers in the conference room to discuss the candidates, including Clara. Opinions are divided. Some argue that her lack of formal qualifications disqualifies her, pointing out that Hart Industries needs someone polished and experienced. Others counter that her unique perspective and evident intelligence make her a wild card worth considering. The debate grows heated, with voices rising and tempers flaring. In the midst of it all, Alexander sits quietly, observing without offering input. Inside, though, his mind is a battlefield. Should he intervene on Clara's behalf, risking exposure of their relationship? Or should he stay silent, trusting the process to play out fairly, even if it means potentially losing her? While the panel deliberates, Clara finds herself alone in the break room, sipping a cup of coffee that tastes bitter despite its sweetness. She replays the events of the day in her head, analyzing every interaction, every glance, every whispered comment. For the first time, she allows herself to acknowledge the enormity of what she's attempting. This isn't just about landing a job. It's about proving to herself that she's more than the labels people try to slap on her. It's about showing the world that where you come from doesn't define where you can go. Still, doubts creep in. What if she's biting off more than she can chew? What if the barriers she's facing are too high to overcome? Just as these thoughts threaten to overwhelm her, the door creaks open, and a young man steps inside. He introduces himself as Daniel, one of the junior analysts assigned to assist with the hiring process. There's something genuine about him, a kindness that stands out in stark contrast to the judgmental attitudes she's encountered all day. They strike up a conversation, and for a few minutes, Clara forgets her worries, finding solace in the simple act of connecting with another human being. Back in the conference room, the discussion reaches a tipping point. One of the senior executives pushes for a final vote, insisting they need to wrap things up before the end of the day. As ballots are cast, the air thickens with anticipation. Alexander watches silently, his expression unreadable. When the results are tallied, Clara's name appears among the top contenders. Relief washes over some members of the panel, while others exchange uneasy glances. The decision isn't unanimous, but it's enough to move her forward to the next stage. As the meeting adjourns, Alexander lingers behind, staring at the list of finalists. His heart pounds as he realizes the stakes have never been higher. Tomorrow, Clara will face the ultimate test, presenting her ideas directly to the executive team, including him. That night, Clara lies awake in her modest hotel room, staring at the ceiling. Sleep eludes her as her mind races with possibilities. She thinks about Alexander, wondering what role he'll play in the days ahead. Will he support her, or will he distance himself to protect his image? She also reflects on the people she's met today, the doubters, the supporters, and everyone in between. Each interaction has shaped her journey in ways she couldn't have anticipated. Deep down, she knows this fight isn't just hers anymore. It's become symbolic of something larger. If she succeeds, it won't just be a victory for her. It will be a triumph for anyone who's ever been underestimated or dismissed because of where they come from. The morning arrives too quickly, bringing with it a mix of excitement and dread. Clara dresses carefully, choosing an outfit that strikes a balance between professionalism and authenticity. As she walks into the office, she notices the atmosphere has shifted. The staff seems more subdued, almost nervous, as if they sense something monumental is about to unfold. When she's ushered into the presentation room, she's greeted by a panel of executives seated at a long table. At the center sits Alexander, his expression neutral, but his eyes betraying a flicker of emotion. Taking a deep breath, Clara begins her pitch, pouring her heart into every word. Her voice is steady, her ideas bold and innovative. As she speaks, she can feel the room leaning in, captivated by her vision. But just as she reaches the climax of her presentation, a sudden interruption throws everything into chaos. A revelation that threatens to unravel not only her chances, but also the fragile web of secrets binding her to Alexander. Just as Clara finishes explaining her groundbreaking proposal, a plan to revitalize rural communities through sustainable partnerships, there's a sharp knock at the door. Before anyone can respond, it swings open, and in walks an older man with a stern expression. He introduces himself as Mr. Grayson, a senior board member who wasn't supposed to attend today's presentations. His arrival sends a ripple of unease through the room. Without preamble, he holds up a folder and announces, "I've uncovered some information that needs addressing before we proceed." The temperature in the room seems to drop as all eyes turn to him. Clara feels her stomach tighten. She has no idea what this unexpected twist could mean, but instinct tells her it won't be good. Mr. Grayson clears his throat and begins reading from the documents in his hand. It appears one of our candidates has ties to someone within the company, specifically Alexander Hart. Gasps echo around the table, followed by murmurs of disbelief. Clara's heart sinks. This is it, the moment she feared most. All eyes shift toward her, then to Alexander, whose face remains unreadable, but tinged with tension. For a split second, Clara considers denying it, pretending she doesn't know what they're talking about. But deep down, she knows running isn't the answer. Instead, she takes a step forward, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. "That's correct," she says firmly. "But let me make one thing clear. My connection to Mr. Hart has nothing to do with why I'm here today. I earned my place in this room through hard work and determination." Her words hang in the air, bold and unflinching. The room falls silent, everyone processing what she's said. Alexander finally speaks, his tone measured, yet impassioned. "Mr. Grayson, while Clara and I do share a personal relationship, it does not, and should not, impact her qualifications for this role. If anything, her unique perspective brings value to this organization that none of us can replicate." His defense catches Clara off guard, and for the first time, she sees the man behind the polished CEO facade. The same man who believed in her when no one else did. Still, the skepticism in the room lingers, thick and palpable. The tension escalates as Mr. Grayson presses further, questioning whether favoritism played a role in Clara's advancement. Other executives weigh in, their opinions divided. Some argue that keeping Clara would tarnish the company's reputation, while others insist that rejecting her based solely on her relationship with Alexander would be unjust. As the debate grows heated, Clara realizes she has two choices: retreat quietly or stand her ground. Summoning every ounce of courage, she steps closer to the table and looks each executive in the eye. "You can doubt me all you want," she says, her voice unwavering. "But if you dismiss me because of who I love or where I come from, you'll miss out on someone who's willing to fight for what's right, even when it's hard. My roots may be in the countryside, but my vision reaches far beyond it." Her words strike a chord, particularly with Daniel, the junior analyst who had shown her kindness the day before. He speaks up unexpectedly, defending Clara's integrity and pointing out how her innovative ideas align perfectly with the company's mission. Slowly, others begin nodding in agreement, their initial biases giving way to reason. Even Mr. Grayson softens slightly, though his skepticism remains. After what feels like an eternity, Alexander calls for a final vote. One by one, the executives cast their ballots. When the results are revealed, Clara learns she's been selected for the position, not because of her connection to Alexander, but because her passion and ideas convince them she's exactly the kind of leader Hart Industries needs. In the days that follow, Clara dives into her new role with relentless energy. Her colleagues, initially hesitant, soon come to admire her dedication and fresh perspective. Word spreads about the country girl who proved everyone wrong, turning whispers of mockery into murmurs of respect. Meanwhile, Clara and Alexander navigate their relationship more openly, choosing transparency over secrecy. While challenges remain, they face them together, stronger than ever. Their love becomes a testament to the idea that relationships built on mutual respect and shared values can withstand even the harshest scrutiny. As for Clara, she never forgets where she came from. She uses her position to advocate for rural communities, channeling her experiences into meaningful change. Her journey inspires countless others to pursue their dreams, regardless of the obstacles in their path. And though she occasionally encounters skeptics, she meets them with the same quiet strength that carried her through her toughest moments. In the end, Clara proves that success isn't defined by appearances or connections. It's about staying true to yourself and refusing to let anyone dim your light. The story closes with Clara standing on a balcony overlooking the city skyline, the sun setting behind her. Beside her stands Alexander, his hand resting gently on hers. Together, they reflect on how far they've come and the battles they've fought along the way. "You did it," he says softly. Clara smiles, shaking her head. "No," she replies. "We did." With those words, the camera pans out, capturing the vast horizon ahead. A reminder that no matter where you start, the possibilities are endless if you have the courage to dream big.